Green light, grey zone. Exploring moral ambiguity in special forces and secret wars. Discover the complex moral shadows where right meets wrong and trust meets betrayal in the world of special forces and covert ops. Green light, grey zone. Navigating the murky shadows between right and wrong. Imagine this. You're in a situation where the rules you thought were straightforward suddenly start to blur. What was green, go ahead, safe, acceptable, begins to turn grey, uncertain, ambiguous, maybe even dangerous. That's precisely the sort of place we're wandering through today. In this episode of our series, we're exploring what I like to call the green light, grey zone. Sounds intriguing, doesn't it? It's where clear-cut decisions give way to murky moral questions, where the lines between good and bad, right and wrong, trust and betrayal become tangled. This is no black and white world. Instead, it's shaded by complexities that often get swept under the carpet, especially when it comes to things like covert ops or special forces missions. Now you might wonder why such a topic is worth a proper chinwag. Well, when you start looking into the backgrounds of secret wars, or those high-stakes moment-to-moment decisions taken by people involved in special ops, you'll find that these grey zones are the battlegrounds for not only physical, but ethical conflict. The ambiguity of the grey zone. The green light is simple. It's the go-ahead, the permission, the clear signal that what you're doing is above board. But once you cross into the grey zone, everything changes. Here, there might be a hint of approval, but it's clouded by uncertainty. Is this action justified? Would you live with the fallout? Could the same move be seen as treacherous by someone else? In history and fiction alike, it's the grey zone where the most interesting stories unfold. These are the moments where heroes hesitate, where villains manipulate, and where the audience is left questioning their own sense of morality, trust and betrayal in the shadows. The special ops world thrives on secrecy and trust. But what happens when trust breaks down inside this grey zone? Betrayal isn't always clear-cut either. Is it betrayal if you're ordered to do something morally questionable? Or is it betrayal not to carry out an order, potentially endangering a mission? The dilemma itself is a tug-of-war, and that's exactly what makes these stories, and real-life situations, gripping and nerve-wracking. When you consider those involved in covert ops, for instance, you understand why they often must weigh their loyalty to a cause against their own conscience. Covert ops narratives, in particular, showcase this tension beautifully. They remind us that the secret war they fight is as much internal as it is external. The real danger, blurring the lines. Mistaking the grey zone for green light can be a recipe for disaster. Sometimes governments or individuals cling to the idea that their actions are unquestionable, turning a blind eye to uncomfortable facts. Other times, operating in the grey allows actions that can spiral out of control, leaving innocent people caught in the crossfire. In the world of special forces, those quick decisions can mean life or death, physically and morally. That's the pressure cooker where men and women face the weight of their choices. The secret war they fight isn't only about enemies, it's about the internal conflict that these blurred boundaries ignite. What can we learn from the grey zone? First, it teaches us humility. Life isn't tidy, and rarely do we get the perfect right or wrong answer immediately. Recognizing that the green light isn't always go, and that some things live in the grey zone, is a reminder that human nature and the world around us are beautifully complex. It also reminds us to ask questions and be skeptical. When told something is justified or necessary, our instinct should be to probe why, and at what cost. Without this scrutiny, it's easy to fall into apathy or blind acceptance. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, it highlights the significance of integrity under pressure. Whether you're part of a team conducting special ops missions or just someone facing tricky personal decisions, the grey zone tests your values. It demands courage, wisdom, and sometimes a willingness to walk away from the green light. In conclusion, join the mission. If stories that unravel these complicated shades of morality and danger fascinate you, then you should definitely check out Covert Ops. They offer gripping tales that don't just entertain, but also provide insight into the secret war fought in the unseen shadows, where every choice matters and every line is blurred. So why not join the mission? Step through the green light into the grey zone and challenge your perceptions of right and wrong. Trust me, it's a ride well worth taking.